On episode 97 of the Tony and Josh Show, this Houston, Texas company just gave every one of their employees a 6-figure bonus. And now we all officially hate our jobs. Nikki G calls into the show, and we've got some noteworthy news as well.
Now you have a legitimate excuse to ignore your boss or significant other. There's scientific evidence that explains why we ignore people. And if you think you've seen some creative shoplifting in your time, well, just wait till you hear how and what this guy was smuggling on the next Tony and Josh Show.
Warning. The opinions, ideas, views, emotions, and temper tantrums expressed or otherwise conveyed on the Tony and Josh Show may not and most likely is not suitable for all audiences and therefore should not be heard by anyone unless supervised by an appropriate nanny state. Enjoy!
Hey, good evening. This is episode 97. If you're new to the Tony and Josh Show, we're here to inform, entertain, and give you a laugh or two. We've searched the interwebs and found these earth-shaking stories to bring to you tonight.
So, you like turtles? Well, that's nice. Probably shouldn't be doing this if you like them that much. It's not your fault you didn't hear your partner while watching TV. Show up to work, get a 6-figure bonus. It's just that easy. We're going to tell you who to set your corporate rage sites on later on in the show.
But first, we want you guys to give us a call using our SpeakPipe feature on our website at TonyandJosh.com. Tweet us during the show at Tony and Josh Show, and don't forget to include us in your other tweets with hashtag Tony and Josh. Well, Josh, the Tony and Josh Show is coming to an end. Episode 100 will be our last. It's been fun, but it's time to move on.
That's right. Yeah, episode 100, we figured we'd go out with a bit of a bang, and 100 is a nice round number to do that. We're going to do something that is a little bit untypical for the Tony and Josh Show, but we figured it's time that we sort of hang up the cans a little bit, at least for the time being. Now, as you guys know, Tony and I are huge Walking Dead fans, so it's likely when The Walking Dead comes back, you guys will be hearing our voices then as well. This isn't goodbye for good, it's just goodbye for now. Tony and I both have some other things going on in our private lives, and well, spare time is of a premium right now, and we figured, well, 100 is a nice number to go out on, and we've certainly had a lot of fun over the years, and we figured this might be a good time to call it quits for now.
So just 3 episodes left. Thank you all for being great listeners.
And stalkers.
Hey, let's get over to our voicemail. It's Nikki G.
Hey, this is Nikki G. And I don't normally vote Democrat, but I'm thinking about doing it in this upcoming election. So I'd love to have Bernie Sanders as president. I think it would be really cool to have an old guy yelling at other countries to keep off our lawn.
Pronounced Mexico.
And then we can just think the price of coffee will go down to like 25 cents. Yeah, I know. It's been a slow week, guys. All right, I'll chat you later. You have a good one. Bye.
It kind of has been, though, hasn't it?
It really has. Well, Josh, I think we read our last review that we received on November 18th last week. It says, yep, they're still there by Dusty L. Dunn. It just dawned on me with the show coming to an end with episode 100. Who's going to get custody of Nikki G and Dusty Dunn?
Oh, boy. Well, obviously, they're going to become custody of the state. The state's not going to want that to happen, so I'm expecting some kind of a deportation.
But to where? I mean, space travel is very limited now with
all
the
these
shuttle being
refugees
down.
coming in. We got to have some going out, import, export. Yeah.
That was that's what Biff was in the Seinfeld thing was import, export.
That's right. That's right.
Actually, I think it was a different name, but Biff was one of the names that he used. So anyway, I forgot about the noteworthy news, a new thing that you've been doing here. I always enjoy hearing these fast little snippets of things that are in the news.
Yeah, it gives us a nice little cross-section of what's been going on around the world in the last week or so. Now, this is something interesting I found out, that scientists have developed Li-Fi, is what they're calling it, which uses pulsating light to send data 100 times faster than current broadband Wi-Fi systems. Only problem is anybody within a 2-block radius goes into an epileptic seizure. You get within 10 feet of a Chipotle and you might not make it to the bathroom in time. Google is building, or maybe already has built, the key to world-changing artificial intelligence with their quantum physics supercomputer, which I'm sure brings them one step closer to ruling the world. And speaking of taking over the world, China has an animal cloning factory that appears to be gearing up for human trials or production. Either way, I'm sure we're all doomed. Planned Parenthood supporters, Warriors for the Babies are plain and simply batshit crazy. There's no arguing that. The middle class is officially shrinking. The Happy Birthday to You song may be public domain after all. The Turkish prime minister has a stick up his ass, and affirmative action may be antiquated as Nana's britches. And something, 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 everyone's neighbor is a radical jihadist, yada, 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 we're all going to die, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, I can see that. There was one of these that I wanted to make a comment on.
Yeah,
which was it? It wasn't the animal cloning, although I can see them cloning endless supplies of Anna Nicole Smith. I was going to say it'd be kind of hard to get the DNA, but I guess it would be. So anyway, the Li-Fi, I heard that's actually a light bulb. So
yeah, so LED light bulbs is where that technology is stemming from. As we all know, the LED light technology industry is just making huge advancements by leaps and bounds, and this is certainly one of them. Using the LEDs, which are able to turn on and off at extremely high rates, because there's no filament involved, right? No, heating up and cooling down and that sort of thing. So. These things are able to flicker, and it's basically sending binary code at that point. On, off, 1, 0.
So this would increase the download 100 times, but not the upload, because I bet you the upload would still go the traditional means.
So
either Wi-Fi or
where we're going to be seeing this primarily is going to be in inter-office communication. We're going to be seeing this in home automation specifically.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Definitely in the home automation industry, especially with the big push that the lighting industry has for getting everybody to switch over to LED lights. So the days of even the compact fluorescent, I think, are
well.
narrowing.
I think that the LED technology is like 10 times brighter for the same amount of power, or 10 times more energy efficient than the CFDs.
Energy efficient, yes. Brighter, I'm going to say no, because I've got
if you apply the same amount of power to it, it is going to be brighter than the fluorescents.
Well, let me share this with you. As you guys all know, Portland, Oregon is on the Spears tip for
the
for
hug of
green
the tree.
energy.
Let's say it the hug of the tree. Then
The hug of the
really...
tree. Yes, exactly for green energy. So all this LED stuff is I see it everywhere, especially when I look out my front door. On my street, they have swapped all the street lights out from the typical incandescent, which gives off that nice warm glow that carries through the block so evenly and thoroughly. These LED lights, although have a much cleaner light, a much whiter light, they're not as bright. They don't carry as far. And the other thing that I don't like is that there's three emitters in the assembly. And so when you're standing underneath of this thing, you have 3 shadows, which is really weird, because if you're trying to kind of see something in the light, but you don't have all the light, you only have 2/3 of the light, then you've got some shadow there that's really playing tricks on you. It's interesting walking down the sidewalk at night in my neighborhood with these LED lights and with the shadows and everything. I don't like them. Now
I can see that.
I guess this is going to be a national thing. I don't know. And I guess they have 3 brightness settings. And it's all up to the cities and the counties and all that sort of stuff as to who and what gets what. I know the freeways and whatnot get the brightest of the settings, and the neighborhoods, the residential neighborhoods, of course, get the lowest of the settings. I'm guessing parking lots and everything else in between gets the middle setting. So I'm not a big fan so far in the way that they are retrofitting everything. That being said, I love what the automotive industry is doing with LED lights and what the residential lighting industry is doing with LED lights.
Well, I think what you're noticing is that the LED technology is very directional, and that's one of the reasons why it has such high efficiency, is because instead of it doing a 360-degree light like an incandescent or even a fluorescent does, LED is very directional. It's just on the side of the where the diode is emitting the light. So I can see where you're getting that multiple shadows from the multiple LEDs that are pointed in the downward direction. So it's interesting. I was just reading something about green energy, how we need to all move to solar power and get rid of coal-fired plants and everything else, because even if global warming doesn't exist, pollution kills millions of people a year, and yada, 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 yada. Well,
think of the polar bears.
Yeah. This is what I'm talking about and this is a minor inconvenience that you're going through, Josh, but you notice it. And
first world problems.
It's technology that's being forced upon us before it's ready, and before it is the how much money it costs before the price comes down on the technology, so that it doesn't hurt people that don't have millions of dollars. You see these people, actors and stuff that have billion-dollar bank accounts, and they go, "Oh, you should be on solar power," and blah 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 blah. Well, yeah, it's easy for you to say, isn't it? Because you don't have to do a damn thing for the rest of your life.
True. Yeah, it's I agree with you to a certain extent about the before before the time is ready or whatever. It's one of those things, I think that we're on the cusp of being ready, and honestly, this technology has merits, and
it does
with the money savings, the energy efficiency. The brighter light or the cleaner light, whatever, whole 9 yards. There are lots of more. There's a lot more pros than there are cons.
Well, LEDs. I mean, when I was going to college for electronics way back in the 70s, LEDs were a technology that were already there. So this isn't LED technology isn't something that came up all of a sudden. But there have been progressive incremental steps in brightness and efficiency to where we are today.
Well, not to mention, I think that the level of merchandising on a consumer level, the LED technology increase is making leaps and bounds. I mean, just 3 years ago, 5 years ago, LED technology for the automotive industry was extremely expensive and kind of hard to come by. There wasn't a lot of manufacturers out there that were messing around with it or offering any kind of aftermarket solutions for the automotive industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
You jump ahead 5 years, and now pretty much you can buy an LED LED light bulb for any vehicle out there. Not to mention, there's tons of LED accessories, lights, controllers, the whole 9 yards. You want to have a 255 color strobe effect underneath your car, you can do it with LEDs now, and you can buy it at the dollar store.
Right.
You couldn't do that 15 years ago. You couldn't do that really 10 years ago. But now it seems like this LED technology is puking out of the walls. I mean, it's everywhere, and it seems like every year we're seeing newer stuff. Oh, now it's this LED light changing and all this other stuff, and now everything has an LED that changes light colors in it, and all this stuff. And so it's on a much more saturated consumer level than what we've ever seen before.
So I know I've mentioned this before, and I don't remember if you remembered or not, but do you know what the next light technology is after LED? See if this sounds familiar. Quantum dots.
Oh, yeah. We did a story on quantum dots not all that long ago.
Right. So these things are really cool. And it says quantum, I just looked it up really quick. Quantum dots are tiny man-made crystals. They're so small that you can't see them with a typical microscope. In fact, they're 10,000 times narrower than a human hair. That's incredibly small, but don't let their small size fool you. Quantum dots are actually very powerful devices. And at their size, it gives them a unique ability to convert light into nearly any color in the visible spectrum with very high efficiency. So something I read a number of years ago now was that a student at college, I don't know, one of the big name colleges, they came up with these quantum dots, and he was painting them on LEDs. And the level of brightness, now this is just what I read, they may have found that this is not the case, but the level of brightness coming off the quantum dots was higher than what the LED was putting out. So there seemed to be this weird anti-conservation of energy.
Oh, yeah.
Because you shouldn't get more light out, but they're highly efficient. And maybe it's the efficiency where the photons going in and it's, more photons are coming out. I don't know. But it would seem to break that law of thermodynamics because of what it does. But anyway.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, but anyway, I think we're going to see quantum dots as the next technology. So it doesn't seem to end. We're coming out with things brighter and brighter.
Well, this whole quantum technology is also starting to be. I'm starting to hear the word quantum come up a lot more often lately. quantum physics, quantum computers, quantum dynamics. It seems like this is a realm of science that is really starting to gain some understanding. I know back to the quantum dots. LG is looking at quantum dot technology for their TVs. I mean, this is something that's going to reach a consumer level here very soon. And we're talking probably 5 to 10 years on the outside. And that's grossly over exaggerating. So, this is technology that is happening so fast that, that plasma TV that you bought a few years ago is going to be antiquated.
Oh my God.
Here in just another 3 to 5.
Plasma is supposed to be enjoyed in a darkened room. Why? Because it's not all that bright. Sounds like many of the political candidates running for office this next go. But I don't think we're going. Well, we've certainly seen with LED technology that the lighting is very bright, and I can only imagine that the quantum dot TVs are going to be just horrendously bright. But hopefully we'll see something that's much bigger too, so we can have like an enterprise doodad, a big enterprise screen, like we would see in Star Trek on the Enterprise.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. On screen, number one,
Dancer, Prancer. Well, hey, maybe here in the future we'll all be able to afford an 80-inch screen in our living room because, if companies start paying us bonuses like this local Houston company did, Houston company gives every employee $100,000 bonus. This holiday season, Houston-based company is rewarding its workers with a major bonus. Hillcorp has 1,381 employees. Josh, quickly do the math on that.
I was told there would be no math. I don't know. It seems this keeps popping up. There's got to be some kind of misunderstanding.
And that's the total number of employees, and they were all given a $100,000 bonus to top off an excellent year.
Amanda, I've had an excellent year. Where's my bonus?
It's in no, never mind.
Yeah, checks in the mail, right?
Well, a coworker always used to say when the creditors were calling him, he would pick up the phone and say, "Yeah, the check's in your mouth." So that's that came to mind whenever you. Well, it was meant as a derogatory remark. So Amanda
check with another 4-letter word. Yeah.
Amanda Thompson has been a receptionist at Hillcorp for 10 years, and she said she, along with her other coworkers, have a good reason to give it their all every day. Well, at least the day after you receive a $100,000 check. It's the
day after that, everybody gets a pink slip.
It's just a true gift, says Thompson. And I think to myself, as long as everyone else is not going to give any less than 100% each day. Hillcorp is one of the largest privately held oil and natural gas exploration production companies in the United States and was also named the 2015 Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For list. Duh.
Yeah, right.
That makes...
I wonder why.
Can I ask you a question? Do you like working here? Oh, hell yes. So in 2010, Thompson said they received a huge bonus for reaching the same goal. She said they doubled the company in size and were able to choose either a $50,000 car or a $35,000 check. I'd go with the cash personally. So, and while Thompson said some of her employees are using the bonus to retire early, remodel homes, take vacations, and pay for their children's college, she just takes comfort in the knowledge that her bank account is a little bit bigger and set for a rainy day.
Boy, I guess. The question arises, though. I mean, really, give it their all every day. Now, I understand there's certainly positive motivation, positive reinforcement. I mean, yeah, you hit your goals, you hit your things. You should be rewarded. The opposite, I guess, would also be true. But, geez, man, $100,000.
Well, there's a problem with this. I mean, I think it's wonderful that if a company wants to do this, and I'm not suggesting that the privately owned company shouldn't do this, but just as a thought experiment, you have people that are in IT that work long hours to make sure computers stay up. You have people that executives that go through all kinds of hoops and hurdles to try to make the company very successful, making deals, alliances, so on and so forth. And you have a receptionist. Now, the receptionist is very important, answering the phone, directing people to sit down, being cordial. It's the face of the company for many people walking in. However, if I was in IT and I got $100,000 bonus and she got $100,000 bonus, I'd be going, what the hell?
Right.
Mine ought to be 2 or 3 times that much. She works 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, and I'm here all hours of the night. So even if it's not stated, I think that it is it deters people from working harder. I think that whenever you give people something, well, let's just say it, it's a participation trophy. The $100,000 is a participation trophy. Hey, thanks for being here.
Well, my conspiracy mind is turning gears and stuff like that. Now she may say this is this is a real gift or whatever, and I'm sure it is. I get a 6-figure check, I'd be doing a dance in the middle of the street. But she may call it a real gift. I'm wondering what the IRS is going to call it.
Well, I was just going to say, I wonder how much they're actually getting from that.
Well, 1,381 employees times 100,000 bonus. That's a lot of money.
Oh, I thought you did it. I thought you did the math.
What I'm thinking is that the company's books are a little bit out of whack. And they're trying some kind of unprecedented maneuver to make it right. And the best way to do that is to unload a whole bunch of cash real quick. And they're doing it through the company. And it's almost like a laundering scheme, I think. Now, we're talking, natural gas and oil here, people. Huge industry, big money. And you know damn good and well that a lot of that money is corrupt as the day is long. So, to say that it's not within the realm of possibility that this isn't an accounting maneuver to save the company face, I'm going to say that's just a little bit too naive.
Would it be a good idea for them to have it publicized like this, though? I would think this would call attention to their nefarious
not
methods.
If this corrects an error in the books, and although it be unethical and maybe as far as accountants go, kind of a shady maneuver, it may not be illegal.
I'm just going to say it. You're just jealous, and you're looking at anything you can do to take those people down a peg. Well, it's a good Christmas time story, and we sure beat the hell out of that. Made everybody feel really bad in the process. So we've done our job.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, there's a scientific reason why you might be ignoring some people, this study says. No, it's not because everyone else is stupid and you're the next step in humanity's evolution. But if you've been called a jerk or worse for not listening to someone, now there's scientific proof that you're not just being an asshole. A person can become temporarily deaf to environmental sounds when engaged in a visual task, at least according to a new research published in the Journal of Neuroscience and led by a group of experts at the University College of London. Now, what I apparently have been wrongly calling selective hearing for all these years is actually called inattentional deafness. According to the researchers, a person's sense of vision and hearing are located in a shared region of the brain, and due to a limitation in processing capabilities, the brain fails to multitask and is forced to choose between the two senses, because one cannot see and hear at the same time, apparently. This pretty much explains every one of my report cards ever. For example, if you try and talk to someone who is focusing on a book, video game, or TV show and don't receive a response, they aren't necessarily ignoring you. They might simply not hear you. This obviously, and of course, must lead to one last safe vestiges of freedom, our vehicles. The study claims unintentional deafness can be dangerous for drivers and cyclists, whether they are trying to drive or ride and talk on the phone, talk to passengers, or having to follow complex directions from your GPS. Right. Because no one has ever successfully driven and carried on a conversation without incident ever before. Now, there's been more serious implications in situations such as the operating theater, where a surgeon concentrating on their work might not hear the equipment beeping. Yeah. And I didn't hear the sirens behind me because I was too focused on driving. Honest, officer, I swear. So the next time your significant other, professor, or parole officer asks if you were paying attention, not only do you not have to answer, but you can rest assured that you'll likely receive zero repercussions for doing so.
I like the way you think. Well, I mean, it's very true from the standpoint of intense concentration. But how often do we do intense concentration? I mean, usually only whenever we're driving at a level that we normally don't drive at, and it requires a lot of mental and visual expertise to look and see what's happening from moment to moment, or a video game that you're really enjoying.
Well, let me give you some examples of this that you may or may not have seen in real life. You are trying to find a house of somebody who you've never been to before. You pull into the neighborhood and you turn the radio down. Does turning the radio down help you see the address better? Does it help you navigate better?
It does.
Apparently, at least according to this study, it would back that sort of thing up. Now, I used to work in the automotive industry for years and years and years. And one of the things that I did was I was an aftermarket electronics installation expert, meaning that I put stuff in the vehicles that people purchased. And as you know, you got a key on in the ignition. You got a key in the ignition on. You have your door open. Most cars beep or ding or otherwise let you know that your keys are in the ignition and that the door's open. A lot of people are irritated by this, or they find it annoying very quickly. After being exposed to it, this sort of environmental sound that's around, this constant dinging, I've learned to block all that out. I can work on a car. Anybody's gonna, and I frequently do installations still for people that need them if they reach out to me, and so they're sitting there watching me do what I do, and it's like, why can't you hear that? Hear what? The car's been dinging for a half hour. I'm about ready to go nuts. I didn't even know. So no, it's one of those things. I've always called it selective listening, and I'm sure
Right.
that is an accurate term, because I'm sure there is some degree of learned or maybe at least skilled, some kind of a learned skill or whatever to block things out consciously, or maybe even on a somewhat conscious level.
So do you ever scratch?
I'm the same way with telephone. If I'm on the phone with somebody and there's somebody else in the room and they ask me a question, all I hear is Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah. Exactly. I thought about that too. So do you ever scratch your head and then find, I don't know, a little piece of skin or something that's wanting to come off, and you feel it and you go, God, that thing is huge. And you get it off, and then you look at it and go, it's this tiniest little flake. And our bodies are so sensitive to so many things. It amazes me, or like a tiny sliver of metal, like from a metal brush or something gets in your finger or something, just drives you crazy. It's our bodies are incredibly sensitive. So is our vision. So is our hearing. It just amazes me how we don't go nuts from sensory overload. Well, the brain will mask those things, especially smells. And that's why a lot of people that work in environments that we would just find horrid to be in can do it, because your brain will mask those inputs. And I think the same thing is true, at least on a short-term period, whenever you're hearing these background noises. But you're right. You can definitely turn a loud noise down or stop talking to that person, so that you can concentrate on something else that you're trying to do. It's really, really cool. Well, Josh, I don't think that we've heard anything about turtles since we did our Walking Dead episode, where that young lady ate the turtle as part of survival. So I see something here in the show notes about a little friendly turtle, about a hand size.
I've heard of shell shock, but this is ridiculous. I just had to throw a pun in there. Well, weeks before his arrest, he was under surveillance in Detroit. After picking up a box at a UPS site, he hid behind trucks and emerged with irregularly shaped bulges under his sweatpants for a wildlife agent. Now, you guys have all heard me tell stories of all sorts of things found or otherwise shoved into the parts or nether regions of some rather interesting individuals over the years. Well, a Canadian man receives my attention this week for his import-export career. Well, it was more what he was moving rather than the act itself, but the method certainly deserves a gold star for originality. 27-year-old Kai Zhu would order turtles online, travel to the U.S. from Canada to pick them up, and then ship them to China or bring them back to Canada. He was lucrative, but sloppy, and of course that combination will always lead to an arrest. Despite the bust, he did not cease smuggling turtles. He didn't even slow down. He was then caught a second time, this time at a border crossing with an undeniable evidence proving that he had 51 turtles individually sealed in plastic bags and duct taped to his legs. I guess it's a good thing that the Asians are known for not having a whole lot of body hair. He pleaded guilty Tuesday to smuggling or attempting to smuggle a grand total of more than 1,000 of the reptiles out of southeastern Michigan. He pleaded guilty to 6 crimes in federal court in Ann Arbor and faces a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Apparently, it's illegal to export wildlife from the U.S. without a permit from the government. Zhu regularly deals in turtle shipments worth $30,000, $80,000, even up to $125,000 per shipment. Assistant U.S. Attorney Sarah Woodward said in a court filing, in China, the turtles he smuggles are worth 2 to 3 times the amount he pays here. Zhu, the guy who's smuggling, is still currently in custody.
I think it's cool his name is Zoo.
Right?
Well, it sounds like it anyway.
It sounds like it. It's certainly not spelled the same way, but you guys get the idea. I could be way off on that pronunciation. I just, XU is Zoo to me.
Right. So...
or an insult to somebody, I'm sure. XU!
So I'm thinking that this is drug runner money. But nobody's getting, but nobody is getting, nobody's being harmed. The turtles are being harmed, certainly. So, I mean, 30,000, 80,000, 125,000. Wow. That's like a Houston base bonus.
I'm thinking that the Chinese turtle soup black market is bigger than I ever thought.
If you put a turtle in a plastic bag, do you think he has an oxygen canister in that shell? So I'm guessing these turtles aren't alive when they get to China.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea if these are being smuggled for food, if these are being smuggled for pets or for.
It's got to be food. It's got to be,
right?
Yeah. But the thing that gets me is you've seen those deals. I think it was actually a Seinfeld episode where George was walking around in some corduroy pants and there was the swishing noise.
The noise that this guy would make
with all these turtles, the clanking and the plastic bags.
It would sound like a dump truck full of coconuts being emptied down a hill.
People be looking at him when he's walking by. You could just well imagine what would happen if he had to go to the bathroom and sit down for a bit.
Jeez.
Hear all that tape ripping off, so and then reapplied. So that's just that's just amazing. But the thing that gets me is the amount of money that he was making. That's just incredible.
That's what is just boggling my mind is $80,000, $125,000 worth of turtles in a single shipment. Now I don't know what 51 turtles are worth in China, and I don't know what kind of turtles that he had exactly, or what those were. But boy, $125,000 worth of turtles. If you can duct tape those, they're either really, really rare turtles, or this guy's built like Yao Ming.
Oh, I bet you a nice young man, 7 foot tall, would make a $250,000 easy.
Yeah, nice.
That's some pretty fast money. Come to think of it, I mean, it's not like you're smuggling drugs. I mean, it's not really hurting anybody. It's probably feeding people. Anyway, it just amazes me that the thing that people can come up with that makes a bunch of money.
Really? Yeah. How do you set up these connections? I got to do some research and then end up on an FBI watch list.
Exactly. Well, guys, we shared the sad news that this is one of the last. I guess this would be the 4th episode until the end. We are going to call things quits on the 100th episode of the Tony and Josh Show. It's not you, it's us.
No, it really is, though.
Yeah,
we've been doing this for a while, guys. The Tony and Josh Show has come, it's gone, and it's come back again. And well, we're going to do that one more time. We're still going to be around for The Walking Dead. So when that's in season, so will we. And you guys can definitely look forward to hearing more from us in the future. We are going to go to 100 episodes. In that 100th episode, we're going to say goodbye. So make sure you guys tune into that one. And in the meantime, be sure to be sure to send us your
Turtles.
farewells. You go ahead and send those emails to info@tonyandjosh.com. Assure you guys that you will be missed as well. I'm sure that you guys are probably going to miss us assaulting your dignities and your faith in humanity.
You'll be in charge of finding your own penis stories.
That's right.
Weekly penis stories.
But you guys can, of course, always head back to tonyandjosh.com, and you guys can see our entire show archive there for your viewing and listening pleasure. So you guys can get your Tony and Josh fix anytime you want.
Yep. Well, we've really enjoyed giving all these little stories and having fun talking. Josh and I just have fun talking about this stuff and amazing one another at the silliness, the stupidity, and just the amazing things that make up our world. So we sure appreciate you guys being a part of our world. And until next week, we will see you later.